Theo, do I have your permission to record this?
Absolutely.
Okay. What's up, Flexies? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I don't know what part of the world that you're, tuning in from, but thank you so much for coming in and just spending just a little bit of time with me. My name is Chris ERYX. If this is your first time, I am AKA Baby Trump. I got to do that, Theo, because one podcast I didn't do it. The guy's like, "What's the matter? You're not Baby Trump anymore?" So God forbid I don't go AKA Baby Trump.
Right.
Yes, I'm still AKA Baby Trump. Flex the Truth podcast. I've got a great guest. Sometimes you get a guest on your show, and it motivates you and lifts you up. I believe this is one of those guests. When I had Jim Dowd on here, good friend of mine, and now he's my business partner. Yeah, I mean, when he came on, he not only lifted me up, but he lifted, thousands of people. I believe this gentleman's going to do the same. So before I get to introduce him, a couple of things that I want to talk about. So go to flexthetruth.com. I've got brand new merchandise. Theo, you'll love this. I got Save Our Children shirts, where nice. Proceeds are going to 25% proceeds are going to go not to help save the children, because we know that's a crock, but for the healing of the children afterwards. That's Jim and I. We're both doing that as well. And then we have the Godfident shirts. I'm going to have to get Theo a Godfident shirt. You guys hear me talk about it all the time. It's something that I, quoted, just saying, listen, no such thing as confidence, but only confidence. So you can get those shirts as they last. They are not going to last very long. I know Jim is putting out emails. I know there's tons of people that want them. So go on flexthetruth.com. You'll also see where I will be speaking. I'll be in Branson, Missouri next month, and also in Tennessee, as well as I will be in, we're trying to get South Jersey with Jim. That'd be awesome. And then I'm also going to be in Oregon in April. So we've got a lot to do, but I'm going to get myself out of the way. And I just want to bring up this gentleman, because when you hear his story, you can't help but be motivated. For the people out there, because I know there's a lot of you. Like, guys, you understand I get to check and see when you guys are checking in, or if you subscribe. I have atheists, Theo, that come on my show, and that's great.
Yeah.
I love that, because you're trying to check in and go, well, why is this guy talking about God? If you didn't believe that there is a God, hopefully after today's show, you will. You can see the shirt that I'm wearing, the sweatshirt, Jesus is my lifeguard. Walking on water, United States. This guy is, I call him the brethren of Canada, of actually Calgary, right?
You got it.
Calgary. So, man, if you don't know this guy, this is none other than THEO FLEURY, 1989 Stanley Cup champion, Calgary Flames. I mean, I remember when you came on the ice. I remember when you lifted that cup, man. It was just, it was unbelievable. So I get him to be a guest. So what's up, Theo?
Not much, man. Just fighting the good fight, trying to support as many people as I possibly can. This is, wow. Let's face it, COVID-19 is the most traumatic event that's happened since World War II. And, they've done everything within their power to traumatize us, right?
Right.
And by locking us down, by closing the skating rinks, by closing the churches, right? They take community away from people. And what happens? Well, you end up inside of your own head. Mm-hmm. The majority of the population has mental health challenges, and where's the worst place you can be when you have mental illness is inside of your own head, right?
Funny you say that, Theo, because suicide. I had a guy call me up about a month ago, and he's a flexi. They never met him, but he called me at 1:30 in the morning. I had COVID, as a matter of fact, so I didn't answer the phone, and he said just what you said. Hey, having suicidal tendencies, I just want to talk to you. And I got it the next morning, thank God, called him up, and we talked for about an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Awesome.
And he's like, man, I didn't even think you would call me. So you're right, where people sometimes, they're being isolated, they're being away from loved ones. They're not allowed to go to church. They're not allowed to go to the gyms. The things that we love, not allowed to go to a skating rink in Canada. That's blasphemy, isn't it? Like,
well, that's like closing the church of hockey, right? Every small town in Canada has an arena. Why? Because it's the place where people go to get whatever they need, right? The kids get the opportunity to learn these amazing lessons playing this incredible sport, being a part of a team. The moms volunteer as the managers, people run the kitchen, feed the kids, so the rink for us in Canada is like going to church, and when you don't have that, you lose your sense of where do I belong in the world, right? And that causes you to get inside of your own head. And if you don't have a strong spirituality or a strong faith in anything, what do you have to fall back on, right? You can go on Zoom as many times as you want, but it's not the same as being in the same person's energy. Like we're energy beings, and we need to be around other people so that we can feed off each other's, energy. And so, over the last probably, I don't know, couple of months, I just said, screw it. And I started booking meetings, and they wanted to do them on Zoom. I said, no, I'm coming to your office. Wow. Because I want to look you in the eye, And I said, I don't care if you're vaxxed or not. You can wear a mask during the meeting. I said, I'm not going to wear a mask, but you know what? I think we should probably just, share in some relationships, share in the presence of our energy so that we can start rebuilding this thing. And in Canada, that's exactly what happened. Okay. So we had people who have been basically locked in our houses for 2 years.
Wow.
And, God said to the truckers, I want you guys to get together, and I want you to drive across Canada, collect as many people as you can, and let's fight for freedom. Okay. Well, what happens is in Canada, like the United States, in a patriotic, free country, there's a lot of patriotism, right? And, what it reminded me of is every time we represent the country at some big hockey tournament, whether that's the World Junior Tournament, the Olympic Games, the World Cup of Hockey, what happens in Canada?
Yeah.
The whole country shuts down for 2 weeks.
Completely. It's insane.
You grab your Team Canada jersey, you grab your flag, and you either go to the event or you sit in front of your TV and you cheer on your team. Well, what the truckers did is they gave every single person in Canada the permission to put on your red coat, put on your jersey, grab your flag, come out of your house, make a sign, and watch what we're doing. And that's exactly what happened. And it's the greatest thing that I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah,
it's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
When I saw them do it, I was part of January 6th, by the way.
Right.
So I got my name, Baby Trump. I was there. So, and for me, that was the greatest thing that I saw, that I was a part of. So I can only imagine. But when I heard that they were doing it, having my sister in trucking, having my brother in trucking, I talked to them about it, and like, they're going to do this. And I go, they're really going to do this. I go, what about food? What about, and I watch every single day, clip after clip, video after video, people coming out of their homes. First of all, and not because you're on this show, but when I went to the Hall of Fame hockey, and I was in Canada, and this was my son, this is, oh my gosh, I don't know, 20 years ago, it was the nicest people, the cleanest place. I was like, I want to live here. Everybody's so nice.
Yeah.
You know, and what I noticed is now you guys are raising up for patriotism. People were coming out giving people, the truck drivers, food.
Yeah.
I
It's been
mean,
unbelievable. It is really, it's ignited.
and
It's
then
ignited the country because
citywide towing, you know, I just want to blast them because they're traitors of your country.
right.
Citywide trucking, they should be out of business because now they're trying to tow the trucks.
It's unbelievable.
It's ridiculous. I mean, you're just a complete traitor. It's treason.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, what's happened in Canada is we have been infiltrated. Our governments all across from small towns, cities, provincial governments, and the Canadian government, what's happened is the World Economic Forum has infiltrated our government, and they have taken over Canada. And this is what happens, right? You know, this type of ideology has been tried 24 times in the history of our planet. Okay. Globalism, communism, whatever, tyranny, whatever you want to call it. It's been tried 24 times. It's failed every time.
Yep.
And the only byproduct of this kind of ideology is what? Death. That's it. That's the only thing that
want to depopulate us. That's it.
That's the only thing that comes out of this type of ideology. And, you know, unfortunately, it takes like 2 decades for them to eat each other because only one guy can sit at the top of the pyramid.
Right.
Right. And even though, you know, our prime minister and all these people that are now working for the World Economic Forum, what they don't understand is that once the globalists get what they want, guess what happens?
Spit them out.
Guess what happens? Trudeau becomes THEO FLEURY, the citizen.
Yeah.
All these politicians. Yeah. And you know what they're going to do to the Justin Trudeau Foundation? They're going to clean it right out, and they're going to take all of his money, and he's just going to be, you know what I mean? So it's like, I just don't understand why there's not enough critical thinkers in the world, right? And because I was mentioning to you earlier, you know, I'm a survivor of sexual abuse, okay? And so I saw this, you know, probably, remember when they say 2 weeks to flatten the curve?
Right.
And then it was like 6 weeks.
Yep. And
right?
then, hey, and now we're a year. Now we're going into 2 years. Yeah.
And so I started listening to words. I started listening to phrases. I started listening. I was like, holy shit, like this is like my abuser. This is like the same mentality and the same tactics that my abuser used on me to get me to do what he wanted me to do. While the government's using the same formula to manipulate, coerce, lie, cheat, steal. It's all the same, right? And you know, because of Project Mockingbird, you know, we've been brainwashed since 1960. You know what I mean? And so, you know, they've spent a long time planning this. They have, I don't even know how many trillions of dollars invested in this plan. And so these guys are dug in, right? They're dug in. But guess what? So are the Patriots, right? Right. The Patriots are dug in, and they are doing everything in their power to get the convoy to leave. Right. But what they're doing is they're actually waking people up to the amount of corruption from the top and trickle down effect. Because when you know, what's a police officer's job? Is to serve and protect. Serve and protect. It doesn't say government at the end of that sentence.
Nope.
You know, and so you can now start to see the corruption. You know, there's, you know, them shutting down the GoFundMe fund page. They've shut that down. They did that today. They did that today. And so what does it do? It just makes a patriot even more determined. And because we're all awake, that means we're really smart and resourceful. And we know how to bring everybody together. We'll figure this out.
And overcome that. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And didn't they just pull in 150 more police? They said.
Oh yeah.
They want to try to get them.
Yeah, because they're trying to paint this freedom convoy as
domestic terrorists,
as misogynist, terrorist.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what our guys have been doing? They've done a great job. They clean up all the garbage.
I saw that.
They're feeding the homeless people.
I saw that.
They're shoveling sidewalks in front of the parliament.
Mm-hmm.
So that whatever narrative they're putting out there, we're counteracting it by being peaceful, loving, shining the light,
serving.
Yeah. So that and now it's at a very critical point here.
So what do you think is going to happen?
I don't know. I know that our side isn't going to create anything because the truckers have had a great plan right from day one, right? And our government has tried everything within their power to paint us as them, right? And the Confederation flag showed up last weekend, the Nazi flag showed up, and it's like, we know that they work for George Soros. Those are George Soros's people.
Yep.
He's been doing it for how many years now? Yep. All over the world.
Yep.
So, it isn't hard to figure out when you're awake, right? But unfortunately, not everybody's awake, right? And so, I think that the truckers woke up the silent majority, right? The silent majority of patriots who were afraid of being canceled. People run businesses, so they don't want to say which side they're on because they could be out of business, right? All of that stuff. And so now we just have to hold the line and let them continue to expose themselves as communist, globalist, crazy people who aren't for the people. They are not for the people. They are for themselves, right? And, this phrase better than anybody else is God wins.
Oh, all the time.
And he's exposing the other side, just like he's exposing Biden and Harris and, all these people, Pelosi, Schumer, all those guys. Well, they're the same actors in Canada. They just have different names.
That's exactly right.
The swamp extends to Canada. Trust me,
And that's why I want to have you on, because I don't think people realize that here in the United States. I know I got people from England. They're going through it, or BJ, Boris Johnson.
Yeah, they're everywhere. These
Australia,
globalists, these globalists have been planted within our governments for many, many years, right? And now the education system is full of these people. The legal system is full of these people. The judicial system is full of these people, right? And that's why we're not getting any rulings in our favor, because everybody's a globalist.
Right. They're all in bed with one another. They all cover each other's ass. That's why our boy Art, I'm gonna give a shout out. What's up, Art? Love you, brother. Can we have you on my show? Art Pulowski, when I met him, I loved him because here's a guy from Poland, seeing the writing on the wall. I think 1980, he said, and is now in Canada. For people that don't know Art, he's the pastor that pretty much told the police to go F off when they came and arrest him. So they arrested him.
I love it when he says, Gestapo.
And now he just did a freedom speech the other day with the truckers right there. And then as him and his wife get in a car, they're driving down the highway, they get pulled over and he gets arrested.
It's unbelievable. It is so obvious, so blatantly obvious, what's going on. But, we will.
And how are you? What are you doing for it? Well, like obviously we're praying and everything like that. Yeah. What are you doing? What's your voice say?
So just as the truckers were sort of getting organized and they were starting to make their way towards Ottawa, I tweeted Laura Ingram.
Oh yeah.
And I said, hey, Laura, you might want to, talk about what's going on up here. And I said, I'm the best guy in Canada to talk about it. And that was the tweet. So that night, I'm just getting ready to go to bed. I look at my phone. It's Laura's producer. And she says, we'd love to have you come on the show. So I go on Laura Ingram and this thing goes absolutely viral in all of Canada, right? Yeah. And so basically, I'm just trying to lend my support on social media. I try to talk to as many truckers as I can, lend my support. But my message is, this is a spiritual war. This is a emotional war, something that we've never witnessed before in our lifetime. And I said, time to, start doing 5D meditation, start praying, start, just try to be in the light as much as you can, right? Because what happens when you shine a light on abusers? They go and run and hide.
They do, yeah.
Right. And what did our prime minister do?
He ran and hid. I actually gave you saw me. I tweeted it to you, right? I gave you his address. I think he's hiding here. That came from General McInerney.
Yeah, yeah. So those guys just run and hide.
Yep.
Right. And so, like I said, the longer we stay in the light, because they want to take us, abusers, they want to take you back into the darkness.
Yep.
They want to play on your mental health. They want you depressed. They want you full of fear, all that stuff. But just stay in the light. If you stay in the light, they can't hurt you because they won't come out of the darkness into the light to come and get you. So the longer we stay in the light, better it is. And let's face it, the narrative is a bunch of bull crap.
Right.
It's bullshit.
Yeah.
Right from day one, it all got exposed.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Everything got exposed. And so the simple fact that they're still trying to use, gaslighting and their buzzwords and all that, like we're over that. Like we're so over that. And it's so out of style already.
Right.
That it doesn't work. But the more you use it, the more you just continue to wake up people. Right. And the simple fact that our prime minister bought enough doses for us to have 11 shots in the next 2 years. What does that tell you? Because we're not going to vaccinate our way out of this.
No.
But what are they doing? They're going after God's immune system.
That's it. They want that. They want to change that DNA. They want to change that DNA so they can control us. Yeah. It's so prevalent. It's not even funny. There's a reason why on the patent it's 666 0606.
Yeah. And what's the one of the proteins is a
Luciferian, right?
Yeah.
And so that makes it glow.
Yeah.
Think about that. So do you? Let me ask you.
If you're going to the club,
yeah, right. Like I was just gonna say, yeah. If you go to like Quebec City, and you're going clubbing, that's a different story, right?
Exactly.
You'll love that. But let me ask you a question: are any of the city lights or the traffic lights or the highways, have you noticed them purple or blue at all? Has Canada gotten them yet?
I haven't heard that yet. Well, no, what's up with that?
So in the United States, it's prevalent. So Michigan, Missouri, Kentucky, the lights glow purple. So you know, like how our street lights come on at night,
Yeah.
they glow purple,
Okay. And
almost like
what's
the black light.
ah
See what I mean? So now they'll be able to know
who is and who isn't.
who is and who
Ah,
isn't.
holy cow.
Yeah. It's right in, and now they're trying this. Now I've been following this for a year. Theo, you'll get on my, podcast and subscribe. You could look at it, but it started last year. And it started like in maybe 2 cities, and then they said there was something wrong with the LED lights that yeah, after a while they turned purple. Listen, I'm not the smartest, but
Yeah.
I've been in construction my whole life. I know about LED lights.
Right.
There is no LED light on the planet that you put on, and all of a sudden, well, after a while, it turns purple. So
Right.
now instead of there being less, there's more. There's more cities. I'm literally going to do a podcast just on that
Yeah.
because I think there's so much to it, and they're not getting rid of it. They're adding more and more to it.
For sure.
And they're doing everything to what you said, Theo. They're doing everything to get this in our system.
Yep.
I was watching where the graphene, they're putting the graphene on the food. So literally, like on a piece of toast, this guy was like, "Oh, I'm so excited! I could put graphene on an apple. I could put it on a steak." I'm like, because they're doing everything to get that inside of us. I have one question because I'm not smart. Why do you want that in us so bad?
Yeah.
Why do you want that in us so bad? I've never seen the government in the world, across the world, want people to have something so bad.
Yeah.
They got to get it in us. They got to get it in us, And then to what you said, I love that you said that about, sexual, behavior and everything. But they also, that's a way of MK Ultra, right? So you hear probably, oh, do it for your neighbor. You love your neighbor, so you want to save your neighbor. So get the ouchie Fauci, get that. No, I love them so much. They want it, they can have mine.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Go all for mine. Go right ahead. And I'm bad because I'm a rebel at heart, and
So am I.
You tell me I can't, wear a mask. I mean, on the airplane, I mean, you should see the things that I would go through, and it all depends. It depends if the flight waitress, I call it the flight waitress, if he voted for Biden, I can tell you if they voted for Biden or for Trump, the way they treat me.
Right.
The way they treat me.
I know it's ridiculous. This whole thing is just, it just needs to be over.
It does. But it's not. It's going to get worse.
Oh, I know. It's already getting worse.
Right? It's going to get worse into what you said. We got to get right with God.
Yes.
We got to get right with God. We got to get our house right with God. And to what you said, we got to spread the message more so than ever. I mean, everybody's like, well, what are you doing? Why I'm going to start having my own events here. And they're like, well, why are you having them here? And I'm like, well, because I need to get eternal lives.
Yeah.
Like, I'm in a game right now. How many eternal lives can I get versus how many Satan's going to get?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to be able, I'm not going to be able to save the world. That's God. I'll leave it to him, in the next coming. But I need to get eternal lives. I need to talk to people, like you said, open them up. When did you first realize, like, talking to Jim Dowd, you know what I mean? Like, I love him to death. We talk almost every day. I remember talking to him when I first met him, and I was red pilling him, and I was telling him all this stuff that was really, because his wife Lisa, oh my gosh, I mean, she knew everything. Like, she knew everything I knew, and I'm like, oh, I love talking to this woman. When did it really start to click with you? When you're like, what the hell are they doing?
Yeah.
How long ago?
Well, if I look back on it now, is when Trump came down the escalator. Because I was like, what the hell is Trump? Why is Trump
running for president of the United States. I go, he doesn't need the fucking job.
No,
You know what I mean? He doesn't need it, right? And at that time, you know, I didn't follow politics ever in my life.
Yeah.
You know, I had no idea if I was a conservative, a liberal, a libertarian, patriot. I had no idea. I had no idea what I was. And so I started following this whole story of Trump. And where did I go first to look for research? I went to CNN. And I started watching these guys, right? And I was like, something's not right here.
Right.
You know?
You never saw such bashing of a president in your lifetime.
And, you know, say what you want, like Obama didn't do a good job.
No.
You know, he didn't do a good job. And so, you know, I was like, why wouldn't you want a business guy? Why wouldn't you want a guy that's built, you know, $1 billion company to be president of the United States?
And lost it twice, Theo, not once.
Yeah.
Lost everything he had twice.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, we don't ever get experienced business people as president of the United States. We just get some schmo who's really good talker, who's a really good marketer, who's a really good, you know, influencer. But really, at the end of the day, what has that guy experienced in his life? You know, has he faced any hardship? Has he been to the bottom?
No, because they've groomed them.
Yeah, he's been a career politician, right?
Yep.
And so, you know, I figured out I was a patriot. I love freedom. I love freedom of speech, freedom of choice. And, you know, how I see my role in being a citizen is there's three things: pay my taxes, stay out of jail, and vote. Other than that, I don't need the government in my business.
No.
You know, I can manage my own life. I understand that there are people who are out there who have a difficult time with life. And I understand that there's a role for government to support those kind of people.
Right.
Right. But the regular, everyday, hardworking, tax-paying citizen, we don't need the government.
No, we do not. Absolutely. I've said that day one. I said that.
Yeah. And the biggest reason why I had success as an athlete was, first and foremost, I had God-given ability and talent, but I worked hard. I worked hard to refine that gift that I got. And I competed at the highest level.
Mm-hmm. Right? You're always the hardest working in the room.
Yeah.
I mean, you're what, 2002, I think you won the Olympic gold medal.
Yeah. 2002. So to me, that's the heart of America, and that's the heart of Canada, is those people. We build the country through our hard work, right? You know, and we don't ask for much. You know, we don't ask for much. But when you start to overreach and become involved in my life, then I got a problem with that. Mm-hmm. Right? I got a problem because I see you at the stump every day talking about nothing that matters. You know what I mean?
Right.
And all this, pardon my language, all this fucking woke shit has got to go.
Yep.
It's destroying everything.
Humanity.
It's destroyed our respect. It's destroyed our love and caring for one another. Like, it's just come in like its own virus and just infected everything. And it's just so sad.
Well, that's what they wanted to do, Theo. They wanted to pit us up against one another, because remember the devil works within.
Of course.
Right. So that was against our neighbor. Look, they tried to do color, they tried to do the races.
Yeah.
That didn't work. Then they tried the LGBTQ TRSDV, that didn't work, right? To pit up and say, now they're trying to do the same exact thing with the ones that are vaxxed and one things that are not unvaxxed. In Boston, Jimmy, I don't know if you heard this, but Jimmy had 5 tickets for the Devil games, gave it to his friend. Excuse me. 2 of them got in, 3 of them didn't. Because 2 were vaxxed, 3 weren't. Right. Are you kidding me?
I know.
Are you kidding me right now?
Yeah.
And so now that's what they're doing. It's like you.
But don't you think that all of these sport franchise are
they're all involved.
doing themselves?
All of them are in.
Right. Don't you think they're doing themselves a disfavor?
100%.
But why would they do that? And most of these franchise owners are billionaires.
Because
so you don't get to be a billionaire because you're a dummy.
Nope. But because they've bought in to the
right. But what are they going to get out of this? They're not going to get fans.
Nope.
Anymore.
Nope. But I think once you buy in, just like as you're an actor or an actress or singer or something, you know what I mean? They sell their soul to the devil. You know what I mean? And they might sell their soul at a very young age. That's when Satan tries to get them, right? Latch on. And as they get older, whether they try to break away from it or not, they're like, no, we have your soul. Yeah. You owe us. And then they control.
Well, I know what it's like to have my soul owned by, a very evil person. And, it was one of the most horrible things that happened in my life. And now I've spent, the last, almost 40 years trying to repair all of that damage that was caused to me, and
did you ever repress memories? Because you came in, you lit up the league. It really I didn't see you having issues.
Yeah.
They weren't really, if you want to talk about it, because I think this is so vital. I think it's so important.
Yeah. No, it's
I didn't really see it until you came to the Rangers.
Yeah. And that's when my mental illness showed up, was in New York.
Yeah. I didn't, we didn't, my gosh, we didn't see it in Calgary.
No, because I was able to manage for a long time. The arena was my happy place. Right. Everything that I was lacking in my life, as soon as I stepped on the ice, I got love, I got admiration, I had teammates. Right. I got all that external chemistry, right? It made me feel good. But when I left the rink, I didn't know who I was. Right. Wow. And so that's why I gravitated towards addictions as a coping mechanism, because I was in so much emotional pain, right? And the thing about addiction is your addiction never gets better. Right. Like, have you ever met any professional cokeheads? No. You know what I mean? Or professional whiskey drinkers? Right. Like eventually you get to that gutter.
Yeah.
Right. You get to the gutter, right? And if you add cocaine, you're going to get there a lot quicker than a lot of people, because it's a very expensive drug, right? And then you eventually come to that place where you got to make a choice. Am I going to die or am I going to live? And 17 years ago, I had a fully loaded pistol in my mouth, ready to pull the trigger and end my life. Not because I wanted to die, but I was exhausted from living in emotional pain and suffering for the majority of my life. And I tried everything on the planet to get rid of this thing, right? All of that trauma, right? And, how many days has it been now? Let me just check my little. So I've been sober 5,982 days, right?
And you said you wanted my testimonial. Well, here it is. So, so one night I got pulled over and I was coming back from the casino in Calgary. Okay. And I had a lot to drink, but I had also done a lot of blow too at the same time. And, you know, the girl that I was with at the time had enough cocaine stuffed in her bra that we were both going to jail and we weren't ever getting out again. Okay.
Wow.
So we go through this check stop on the highway. So I roll down my window and the cop comes up to the window and he says, "You've been drinking tonight?" I said, "Yep." He said, "How much?" I go, "Quite a bit." He said, "Well, do you mind, you know, doing breathalyzer?" I said, "Sure, might as well." So I blow and I pass. I pass. I don't know how the hell I pass. Honestly, I don't know how I pass. So I get home and you know, I'm fucking frazzled, right? I'm rattled.
You're cool.
Yeah. So then get into a fight with, you know, this girl.
Yeah.
And so I'm left in the washroom. And I'm like done. I'm done. I'm going, that can never happen again. Because if they pulled us both out of there and searched us, we're done. Like we're done. You know, I'd probably just be getting out of jail right now if that happened, right? You know?
Right.
So
wow.
So here I am in the washroom. And so, you know, I've been in and out of 12-step programs for a long time, right? And so so I remember I went to this all men's meeting and I was living in Santa Fe, New Mexico, of all places. Okay.
Wow.
Because I went there for treatment. They put me in a treatment. They put me in a treatment center in there, and I absolutely fell in love with Santa Fe because they had unbelievable recovery there.
Really?
Oh yeah, they had a friendship center there where they had a meeting on the hour, every hour, 24 hours a day. Wow. So if I needed to go to a meeting, I could go to a meeting.
Right.
So I used to go to this men's meeting, all men's meeting, and so one night after that meeting, I'm having a smoke outside, and this old timer who, like, he's like a 60-year-old old biker, you know, and he's just like, he's a handsome guy, tan, beautiful white hair, and he had this like permanent whiskey voice, and he used to say, "Jack, alcoholic," you know, that's how he talked, right? Yeah. So I'm standing outside having a smoke, and he says, "How you doing, kid?" I'm like, "It's not happening, man." I said, "I'm just hanging on by a thread." Oh. And then he says, "How you doing with your higher power stuff?" And I'm like, "Ain't happening, man." You know? So then he says something I'll never forget. He says, "Do you realize in this program that you get to pick your own God?" Okay.
Wow.
So as I'm in the washroom, I remember the conversation I had with Jack, and I said, "Okay, I'm gonna have it out with God here." Okay. So I went up one side of God, I went down the other side of God. I called him absolutely every single name in the book that I could think of. I made a couple of my own, and I said, "Hey, listen, Matt. I go, I realize you only give me as much as I can handle." I said, I'm full. I said, "You can't put one more thing on my plate." And then at the end of the conversation, I said, "Please, please, please, God, take away the obsession to drink and do drugs." I went to bed. The next day I woke up, and in my house at that time, I had to walk by a big long mirror on my way to the washroom. So as I'm rubbing the sleep out of my eyes, I glance out of the corner of my eye and stop dead in my tracks. And I can't remember last time I looked up, actually looked at myself in the mirror. like in my own eyes,
Right.
because I
In
was
your soul.
so
In
because
your
I was
soul.
so full of shame
Mhm.
and guilt and anger and rage and all that stuff. And so, so I'm standing there and I'm like looking at myself, and 5 minutes goes by, 10 minutes goes by, 20 minutes goes by. And then finally 40 minutes goes by and I go, holy shit. I said, my prayer's been answered. And that was September 18th, 2005. And I haven't had a drink or a drug since.
Wow. Wow. Just like that. So you literally just got to look like right into your soul. I call it
Yeah,
soul.
but I surrendered, right? I surrendered that day because I realized I couldn't do it on my own. I can't do this on my own. I need help.
Right.
And who am I going to ask for help? Might as well ask the source, right?
And
might as
you
well
grew up,
might as well directly go to the source.
right, go right to the head honcho. When you grew up, did you grow up religious? Did you have any religion in your
I
family?
grew up as an altar boy in the
So, yeah, me
Catholic
too.
Church.
Yep.
But wait. Thursday nights, I went to my mom's Jehovah Witness Bible studies.
What?
Yeah,
What?
yeah. So,
Wow.
so you want to talk about
Wow.
a religious mind fuck?
Wow.
Right? So can you understand?
Wow.
I couldn't
Yeah.
get the concept of God,
Yeah.
right?
Sure. Both,
You know?
both religions. I mean,
Yeah.
you're being programmed both ways.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's why I say. Not only am I a recovering alcoholic, but I'm also a recovering Catholic and a recovering
Yeah, recovering Catholic, right? Yeah.
So
Wow.
yeah, and that's when my journey started, right? And
That's
like I said, it's been 5,900 days.
that's unbelievable. And then you just give your life. Have you been baptized yet?
I was baptized in the Catholic Church, so
No, that doesn't count.
okay. No, but I don't have I. I don't
So,
think I've
okay,
actually.
Theo. So let
But
me.
I have been baptized in the indigenous community. Okay.
What's
So
that?
I'm an indigenous person. I'm an Aboriginal person.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm a Indian.
Okay.
Okay.
Are you really?
Yes.
Oh.
But I'm mixed. Right.
Wow.
And so, I do ceremony now. So I go to sweat lodges. I
Yeah.
go to powwows.
Yeah.
I drum. I smudge.
Wow.
That's my higher power.
Yeah. Yeah. So I tell people when we're Catholic, we're and when I tell you this, you go, whoa, this is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
They are trying to keep us away from God from day one. So when you're brought in as a baby, an infant, and they're doing a baptism, and they talk about denouncing Satan, you're a baby, you can't denounce Satan. So you have your godmother and godfather speak for you.
Right.
The Bible, nobody can speak for you.
Right.
So all these Catholics go through their life, right? Like my dad was a professional drummer. He played with Johnny Cash, Johnny Paycheck, Eddie Rabbit, right? So my dad, his whole life was Catholic.
Yeah.
And then he saw his son, Christian. And when my dad had prostate cancer, I was his spiritual warrior.
Yeah.
And he would like run in the bathroom and hide from my mom, and talk to me about God. But I ended up doing the salvation prayer with him. And he now understood what that was. But as a infant, as a Catholic, they've deceived us so much that we think we're baptized. And I mean, so many people do. Like when I go out and I speak, and they're like, "Man, we never thought you would speak about God like that," because I'm an evangelist.
Right.
And when they're like, "Well, I was baptized when I was kind of like, no, the only thing you were a wet baby."
Yeah, that's right.
And you'll see at the end of my show, because every podcast I do a salvation prayer, because I always say that people don't know what it is to give their life to Christ. Yeah. And there's so much involved, and when they realize, oh, it's just.
Have you ever heard the third step prayer?
Yes. Yes.
Like, so to me, that's the ultimate prayer, surrender prayer,
Yep.
right? And I've said it from the first day I got sober to today, because I have to surrender every day.
Every day. Every.
Right?
Yep.
And it goes like this: God, I offer myself to thee to build with me and to do with me as thou wilt. Relieve me of the bondage of self so that I may better do thy will. Take away my difficulties, that victory over them may bear witness to those I would help of thy love, thy power, and thy way of life. May I do thy will always.
Yep.
That's surrender. That means I'm out.
Yep.
I'm out. I'm now a vehicle. I'm now your vehicle, because left to my own defenses, left to me running my own life is the biggest shit show on the planet. Right?
You're right.
Every time I drive the bus always crashes.
You're right.
But now I sit comfortably in the passenger seat and I don't question anything.
You're right.
And guess what? I have the greatest life you can possibly imagine.
Amen.
Because I'm not in control.
Right.
I'm in control of nothing.
Well,
I gave that up.
You're right, Theo, because we try to control everything, but he's got a different plan. So, I love when people go on vacation, they got everything documented. Okay, at 10:15, we're going to meet in the lobby. And then at 11 o'clock, we're going to have breakfast. I'm like, why are you planning stuff? Because he's got different plans.
Yeah.
And to what you said, Theo, once we are of our own accord, we screw it up.
Yeah.
But it's so much easier to go.
If we take it back.
Right.
That's why you got to surrender every day.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I tell them it's all here. You got it, man. This is your problem. Like
whatever you want me to do, just show me. I'll do it.
Yeah.
Right. And look what happened because of it. I now live a life of being of service to my fellow human beings. Right. I help people who have trauma issues, mental health issues, addiction issues, and people ask me, like, what do you do for a living? I said, I collect people. That's what I do.
Yep.
Right. I collect people. And not only people, but amazing, incredible people with incredible stories of adversity and resilience.
Yeah. I should have been dead 3 times in my life.
Oh yeah. Fuck.
I was abused. My dad abused me. My dad bullied me. I was bullied in school. And that's how I became a boxer.
Right. Of course.
Because I was sick and tired of my dad beating on me.
And you're so angry. How the hell am I going to get all this anger out?
I have all this rage. I had this rage inside me, Theo. So I could relate. I couldn't wait to talk to you. I had this rage inside of me that, I was just telling my friend the other day, like, there was never a time I got into a street fight, where I let up. Like, I ripped my best friend Jamie Cox's ear off. It was hanging.
Yeah, because when you go from anger to rage, all bets are off.
Yeah,
because I work in the prison system in Canada, so I work with inmates. Like, I go into the prisons and talk to the inmates, right? And I explain their anger to them, right? I tell them, if you didn't have all this trauma as a kid, I said, you wouldn't have to be angry. And I said, when you're angry, guess what? What are you going to do? You're going to take it out on society.
Yep.
Right? And when that anger becomes rage and you kill somebody, because you can actually black out in rage, you don't even know what you're doing.
Easily.
And when I explain it to these guys start to cry because finally they know why. Because nobody's ever explained to them why, or nobody's ever showed them compassion. Nobody's ever showed them love. Nobody's ever showed these guys light, right? And the best thing that happens, Flex, is I'll be sitting at home, just hanging out, and I'll get a random message from some dude who said, you know what? You came to prison. I listened to your story. He'll say, I'm out of prison. I have a job. I'm reconnecting to all the people that I hurt, my kids, my family. And I'm just like,
That's giving up control and just letting God work through me. That's all it is.
Well,
Right?
and I think you and I and Jim Dowd, we've been battle tested, right? We've
Yeah.
gone through so much. I mean, I slipped my wrist when I was 16, and was in a coma for 3 weeks. I just
Yeah.
wanted to die.
Yeah, of course.
And nobody understood why. Like, they see my dad as this professional drummer, and with Johnny, oh, you got the life, you got the life. No, you don't know.
No.
So what you said, and that guilt, you know what I mean? And you go through, and my relationships, with especially like women were just horrible, dude. They were so bad.
Yeah.
They were so bad, you know?
Because we were so broken and so angry. Well, we didn't love ourselves, right? If we can't love ourselves, how can you love somebody else if you don't love yourself, right?
So true.
So, but another thing that I always like to talk about is the gift in the adversity.
Right.
Right? A lot of people don't see the gift, right? And the amazing thing about adversity is what? It creates resilience. And then when you have resilience, you're good to go, because you can throw anything at me.
Right.
And I know I'm going to figure it out.
Yeah,
I'm going to figure it out.
Yeah.
I will, for the rest of my life, I will win no matter what. So you throw COVID at me, you throw globalism at me, you throw all this shit at me. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid, because I've already been to the gates of hell.
That's right. That's right.
Right? I've already been there.
That's right.
So it's not unfamiliar to me. Right? And what faith has taught me is that faith gets rid of fear.
It does. It's faith is fear in reverse.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So that's what people don't understand, is that God is actually giving you a gift when he gives you adversity.
So true.
Right?
Yep. It doesn't make sense.
And even though it feels horrible and it's terrifying when you're going through it, and if you stay on the earth long enough, you're going to get the gift.
Oh yeah. Because
as you get older, you can self-reflect. You can look at everything and then realize that, hey, fuck, I'm still here.
Right. And I love that.
And why am I still here?
There's a reason.
Because I was born for this time.
That's right.
So if you're living today, you were born for this time.
Yeah, I said it all the time.
So you either get on the track with us and fight with us, or get the fuck off.
Get the hell off. Yep. Get the hell out of the way.
Yeah.
I love that you, me, Jim, and others, we let our mess, because we were a mess. We were a shit show, right? We were, dude, I would scream so loud, I'd pop a vessel in my eye. Do you know how hard it is to pop a blood vessel in your eye just from yelling at somebody?
I know.
But it was, and boxing, got that rage out. Now,
sure. Hockey got all.
I was going to say that's why you loved the fight. You didn't care who the hell they were, because it was an opportunity to just let it out.
Yeah,
just let it out.
And I didn't care about getting shit kicked.
No.
Yeah. So, but this is a whole different thing. This war is different because it's psychological.
Right.
And because, the world has such a huge mental health problem, they know that. They know it. This has been pre-planned, right? This has been pre-planned and so.
Keep us away from one another. No contact. You don't probably know this, but I don't know if Jim told you. So when I was on stage in Tulsa, Oklahoma, April, it's almost a year that I've been on a tour, speaking. I was dancing and everything and throwing out my t-shirts, and God said, stop the music. So I said to the guy running the event, Clay, stop the event. He looked at me like, what? And I said, turn to your left or your right and hug someone. Now, Theo, I'm literally standing on stage, 4,500 being streamed live in millions, and I'm getting this download. Like, I don't even know what I'm going to say next.
Right.
And I go, and I see everybody hugging one another, and I go, you're hugging the wrong way.
Right.
And they're like looking at me like, what are you talking about?
Right.
And I taught them heart to heart and explained to them that we're made up of frequency, that we're made up of water.
Yeah, we're energy.
We're energy, like you said. So let's now connect. And if you think about it, the way they taught us to hug, when we hug, your heart is on the outside of me and my heart's on the outside of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they don't even want our hearts to connect from day one.
Yeah.
People turn in, hold the person's head like a baby, and just tell them you love them.
Yeah.
Tell them you love them. And man, that place lit up like Christmas trees.
Of course.
So when I'm in the airports now or in the grocery store, people run up to me like, baby Trump, I know how to hug the right way.
Yeah.
But that's something so minute, that connection with that human being. And that's what God was saying to me, is like, Chris, these people are being disconnected. There's not going to be any love. And without love, there's hatred.
For sure. And we can't have any of that moving forward. No,
I have to get to Canada. And I can, obviously, because once you're in, you got to go through all that. I was talking about Art trying to come here and being in my events, but there's going to be a day when I'm going to go to Canada, your help, Jim's help, and others, and I'm going to teach the country of Canada how to hug the right way, because I think when you bring love in your message, it's the oldest adage in the Bible, but that's what we need. You played hockey against people, right? And you hated them during the game, but then guess what? You'd hang out with them afterwards.
Yeah,
right?
we go have a drink,
especially hockey players. They were known for that, kicking each other's ass on the ice, off the ice, or hanging out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I remember walking in Pittsburgh. I'm good friends with a lot of the Penguins, and I'd walk in, I'm like, wait a second, what's his name? Kevin.
Kevin Stevens?
Kevin Stevens. I'm like, Kevin, you just whooped this dude's ass, on the ice. You're sitting here at the casino hanging out with him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's that love. And to what you said, Theo, that's what we have to get back to. We have to connect with one another.
Yeah.
I love what you're doing with the prison system. Do you have anything else? Do you have anything else coming up that you're doing?
I'm speaking at a big event next Saturday in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, talking about how the pandemic has affected everybody's mental health and how to get out of it.
Okay, great. And if this,
and I'm on all social media platforms, and I do a podcast every once in a while, but mostly I'm just trying to support as many people as I can right now in this spiritual war. And I'm preaching love and light, man. Love and light. Stay in the light.
I love it. So
time to connect.
We normally do a prayer at the end.
Let's do it.
I'll let you lead the prayer, and then I'll do the salvation prayer. Fair enough?
Sure.
All right, so go ahead, Dave.
God, please, or God, thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for connecting me and Flex. Thank you for connecting all of us, and continue to guide us, give us strength, hope, inspiration, and please keep shining the light and, trying to wake up as many people as we can. Amen.
Lord, I ask that you put a hedge of protection around THEO FLEURY, around his family, his loved ones, people that he's connecting with, the people that he's reaching out. Lord, just put the right people in front of Theo. He's anointed. He's doing your work, your will, your way. But most importantly, Lord, he's leading with your words. Lord, just give him the abundance of knowledge and the wisdom from you, Lord, so that he could go ahead and he could pour into others. So he could tell his testimonial, so he could tell everybody how powerful, how great his God is, Lord. I thank you so much for the brotherhood that I have with my brother in Christ, Theo, that I get to spend eternal salvation with my whole entire life. I have such a huge smile on my face right now. Lord, I ask you right now that, to just give him the courage, to give him the authority, Lord, because we know that you are above all. We know that you are above COVID-19. We know that you're above alcoholism. We know that you're above addiction. Lord, that he could go out and that he could show everyone on this planet what a great God you are, Lord. And that if you only just give up and you just let him do what you're supposed to do, that yes, you can also be like a Theo and be filled with love and light. This we ask in your name, amen. So everybody, look, thank you so much, Theo. That was awesome.
Thank you, sir.
Salvation prayer. Listen, if you're sitting here and if you know Theo, look, if you know Theo, you're saying, my gosh, there's a God. There is a God. You know what, Chris? Maybe I didn't believe in God, but man, I see a huge difference. Theo, the one thing I can tell you this whole podcast I watch, your eyes. I see such a light in your eyes, brother. It brings my eyes. Yeah. I can see that light that in New York, whether it was the circumstances, you know what I mean, living in New York or whatever, it was dim. You had a darkness in your eyes.
I was in a lot of pain, man. A lot of pain.
You can see it. And you can see that light in your eyes now. So if you're saying, man, brother Chris, man, I want it. It changed you. It turned your life around. It turned Theo. I want what you guys are drinking, right? Yeah. Great. Raise your hand and just repeat after me. Say, Lord Jesus Christ, thank you so much. Thank you so much for just coming into my life and being my father, my natural father, my savior, my everything. I invite you into my heart, my soul. I denounce Satan. I denounce everything evil. And I repent my sins. I'm so sorry for all the sins I created. I'm so sorry for the anger I've had. I'm so sorry for the rage I have had. Please take that away from me right now. Take that away. I'm so sorry for the suicidal tendencies I've had. Please take that away from me right now. I'm so sorry for all these, the alcohol and the drugs and the gambling and the sex and all these addictions. Take that away. You are bigger than any kind of addiction, Lord. You are above that. I ask that you take that away. And now I know I'm heaven bound and I'm a child of God. Thank you so much. If you said that prayer, that is the beginning. That's not all in all. That's not like your free VIP pass to heaven, but that is how you start out. That's how Theo started out. That's how I started out. You're going to start out as, and they call it born again. The reason they call it is so you start all over. If you walked out today and God forbid got hit by a bus and you're like, man, I don't know if I go to heaven or not. Guess what? If you said that salvation prayer, you have a better chance now because now you've given it, like Theo said, you've given it up to him. You have now surrendered. And now your sins are wiped away underneath the blood of the altar of Jesus Christ, and you got to start anew. Theo, thank you so much, brother. I'm going to have you on again once these borders break.
Let's do a big event in Calgary.
Yes, let's do it. I'm there.
Bring up Jimmy D, and it'll be awesome.
Oh yeah, I'll bring up Jimmy D. I'll bring up a lot of people. But yeah, I think Calgary needs that. And if you could get me an event place, we'll make it happen.
Okay, that's easy.
Okay, so we'll talk. Why don't me, you, and Jimmy talk here the next week, and we'll talk about doing an event there.
Okay, sounds great.
God bless you, brother.
Thanks, brother.
Thank you so much. Guys, remember, flex the truth, right? Flex your mind, flex your muscles, but above all, flex your truth. And then you're aligned with God. And then you can go out and guess what? You can do his work, his will, his way, but above all, his words. Bless up, guys.